Labeodan. I'm the principal immigration consultant of TrueLink Immigration Services. So today we're going to be talking about statement of purpose. A statement of purpose is an essential component of a study visa application when applying for Canada visa. Do you want to know how to write a perfect SOP that when the visa officer sees and he reads it, he will immediately approve your visa? Then you need to join us this morning. My name again is Toyosi Labeodan. I'm the principal immigration consultant of TrueLink Immigration Services. TrueLink was actually created to help you live a life of new opportunities abroad. So if you want to study, you want to invest, you want to migrate, you want to visit other countries, we are actually your TrueLink to the world. So reach out to us today. Before we go on, I would like to request that you follow us on our social media channels. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're also on YouTube. Our link is at TrueLink Travel. So just check us out on all the social media channels. And we have so many interesting stories, videos, seminars that we've posted on our social media channels. And I'm sure when you go there, you will see something that will benefit you. So today I'm here alone. I'm here with one of my colleagues. She's also an immigration consultant. Let me see if she's here now. So I'm here with Colleen. Colleen will be joining us today. Is she here? Okay. So
Hello.
yeah, Colleen, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so Colleen is here today. She's also an immigration consultant, and she's going to be taking us through all what you need to know as regards statement of purpose this morning. So just sit back. You can still invite your friends. Just tell them we are live already, so that they can actually learn and understand what they need to know about statement of purpose, especially when it comes to students applying for student visa to Canada. This is really very important. So yeah, Colin,
Yes, hello.
I'm sure in our practice, we meet a lot of we see a lot of people who write,
Yeah.
and when they write, many times we have to guide them, help them rephrase one or two things and make their SOP to be better.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
would say
you said, go on, yeah, go on.
one of the big jobs of completing the study application is making sure that the SOP is really, really good, well written and convincing, and it says everything it needs to say. And most of the time, the SOPs that we get are not really quite there yet. It needs quite a bit of work before it's ready to submit. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm knowing fully well that this is something that the visa officer will read, will likely read. If he reads it and is not convinced about your intention, he will likely refuse your visa. So we are here this morning to talk to you about all you need to know on SOP. I'm sure if you watch this video again, if you join us now or you watch the video much later too, you will actually understand what you need to do if you want to study in Canada and you want to write a statement of purpose. So you have the floor.
Okay, well, I have prepared a little presentation for everyone about SOPs so that we can kind of talk a little bit about how you should be writing them and the kinds of things that you should be putting into it. So I'm going to begin. So first of all, for anyone who doesn't already know, the statement of purpose is basically it's an essay that you need to write, and it is about your study program, and it's about you, and it's about your intentions in Canada. And the visa officer who's reviewing your file is going to read this and find out a little bit more about you. And this is actually a very good opportunity for you if you are a study client, because you get this chance to explain all your different reasons and to add in details that may not be obvious just from the paperwork of your application. And if there are any sort of weird things about you, like your travel history, or maybe there's something in your education history that is maybe a little concerning unless you know the full story, you get a chance to tell that story. So you can limit any type of potential concerns that could happen. This is really important. This is a really good chance for you to get that visa on the first try and not have to explain things the second time or anything like that. Okay, so as we said a little bit earlier, this is sort of your introduction to the officer. And so if you've done a good job on your SOP and they read it and they're really convinced by what you've said, you have a really good chance of being approved. But if you haven't done a very good job, let's say that you wrote your statement of purpose, but maybe you only wrote a couple hundred words, maybe 300 words, you didn't have a lot of additional information or really good explanations for anything, that could hurt your chances of being approved, because they're going to think, how serious are you if you can't really explain to me what you're doing or why you're going or anything like that? Right? So this is a very important document, and you should spend a lot of time and effort on to making this document as good as possible.
Yeah.
So how would you go about writing this? Okay, that's the big question, right? So
Yeah.
this is what I like to do. I like to break it down into the different sections that should probably be there for most study applicants. So I've listed a whole bunch of them here: introduction, education, work experience, your program of study, the school you're attending. Canada, in this case, is the country you're going to, explaining about your home country, your proof of funds, plans after study, travel history, previous refusals, any other type of concern also, and then your ties to your home and your conclusion paragraph. And if you break it down into headings like this will be a really good way to organize all of your thoughts and all of your points and be sure that, I hit every single topic in this essay that I needed to cover. So that's why we like to, for our statements of purpose, break it down into sections. Okay. So I'm going to discuss just a little bit about each of those sections I just mentioned, so you know the kind of stuff that should be in it. So all essays should begin with an introductory paragraph. And in this case, it can just be a short little paragraph where you just introduce yourself. Maybe your name, your age, passport, where you're from, maybe. If you're married, you could mention that. If you have children, you could mention that. Of course, not everyone is married. So I have this introduce other things area where you could introduce maybe your parents. If you're a young person, you're not married, or if you don't have any type, just to establish what your family is like in just one sentence very quickly. And you're also going to just introduce your studies by saying, I'm going to Canada because I've been admitted to this program at this school, it's this long, and I'm starting on this day, something like that, just to show them that this is what the essay is going to be about. It's going to be about me and my program. There's your introductory paragraph. And your topic sentence of your essay should just be, I'm writing to you because I've been admitted and I would like a study visa so I can go. I'm requesting a study visa from you today. And that's what that's what this statement of purpose is about. Okay. So this is going to be another probably short paragraph, your education background. A lot of times it's good just to start from the first education, maybe your high school education, and then your most recent education at the end. And you can just put your school, your degree, the year you completed, similar to how you do maybe your CV, only do it in sentences, not point form. And this could give you a small chance to explain if you've got a large gap in between your last education and this current education. Or it could give you a chance to do maybe one or two sentences addressing if your program that you're taking is similar or different to a program that you've taken in the past. But that should really be explored in the section that discusses your new program.
Yeah,
so
let me just
put it in there.
I was just going to talk about the large gap in education. Many people believe that if maybe you went to school maybe like 10, 15 years. The last time we went to school was like 15, 10 years back or thereabout. The visa officer always at times queries it that why are you just going to school now? So the similar purpose is a good opportunity for you to explain why you have that gap in your education. You studied, maybe you finished school 15 years back. Why did you now decide to go back to school after 15 years? There must be something. So this is a good opportunity for you to explain that to the visa officer so that it would not just be guessing that, okay, you just want to use it for something else. You would have written why you decided you want to go back to school now. And once it's convincing, it would not use that to refuse your application.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, and then similar to the education, you also are going to briefly discuss your work experience, if you have work experience. Some people maybe haven't started their work yet, but you're going to just summarize what you're currently doing, and you can add in if you have relevant work history. Maybe you have, maybe that is the reason, like Mr. Toyosi was just saying, maybe you have been for the last 10 years growing your career, and now to get to that next step of your career, you have to go back to school to get an additional degree. Everyone's situation is different. But you can try to make sure that your work experience paragraph maybe somehow ties into your program. But one of these two, either your education or your work experience, will most likely be tying into your program somehow. Either it's going to be the next level of your education and it matches up with what you've been doing before, or it doesn't match your education, but it matches up with what you're trying to do in your career. So one of these two should connect quite well to your program of study.
Yeah, there should be a progression. You should be
Mm-hmm.
able to write it well so that the visa officer can see that what you are going for is either a progression in your career, or if it's a progression in your educational profile or thereabouts. It needs to be clear, because if the visa officer says that, even though it's wrong for them, you can decide to change career. It's not wrong for you to change career. You can decide to change career, even if you are coming for a program that is different from what you are currently doing. It's possible. But
Mm-hmm.
if there is a link between your work experience and what you are going for, that is perfect. So you must really be able to show that link and make it very clear that, oh, look at this is a direct progression in my career. So for example, if you are coming for a master's in human resources management and you're working as an human resource officer where you work, that's a direct progression.
Mm-hmm.
You are coming to do a program that would likely make you become maybe the human resources manager of the organization when you go back. So you need to be able to state all this very well in your statement of purpose, so that you're making the officer see that there's a direct link between what you're going to do and what you are doing. Otherwise, they will just tell you they've not seen your cost of choice is not reasonable, and you don't want them to refuse your visa on that basis.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's a very good point. Okay, and this is a really, really, really important section of the SOP. This is the section where you're going to explain the program of study that you're trying to go to attend. And this is crucial because this is your biggest opportunity to convince the officer that you're a genuine student. And so this should not be, a small paragraph. This should probably be quite a long paragraph or multiple paragraphs discussing what your program is. That's the first thing. And then explaining the reasons why you need this program. What is this program going to be doing for you either in your education or in your career? And you need to tie in all of the benefits that will be. So in the example that Mr. Toyosi just gave, taking that course in human resource management would lead to a future promotion at your workplace. And that's the benefit. So I'm going to do this program because, I'm working in this industry and I really love this industry, but I don't have formal training. So I'm limited in where I can grow professionally. So those are the reasons I need to go. And the benefit to me is going to be a promotion. When I return, it's going to be a better position with better benefits and higher up on my career ladder. And that's all very good. It has to be explained really well here. So you can't just do a small explanation. And I think a lot of people don't talk very much about the program, like what type of subject that they're doing. but you should, because you can't assume that the visa officer knows what it means just because you put the title in there. So explaining it and your reasons and your benefits, very, very important to convincing the officer that you are genuinely very excited about this program and you really need to do this for some reason.
Another thing I wanted to add to this, let me just add something to this because really, just like you said, this is a very important section, a very important paragraph. Now, you need to convince the visa officer that the course you are going to do is worth it. Is worth the expect. You're coming to spend about, if your program is 1 year, you're coming to spend like $30,000 for a program. So you should know that if you're coming to spend that kind of funds, you should have very clear reasons, genuine reasons why you want to come and study in Canada. Some people make some mistakes in this section. You select a course that you cannot defend the benefits, or maybe the benefit of the course is only relevant in Canada, not in your country.
Yes, yeah.
That's a big issue. So don't forget that we know that many people would not want to go back. We know, everybody knows that if you come to Canada to study, most people do not want to go back. But in writing the reasons why you want to study the program you are coming to study, you should relate it to your home country, not to Canada. So don't think, okay, for example, I have someone that told me that he was coming for personal support worker or thereabout, and he said the reason why he's coming for it is so that he can look for jobs in Canada. He believes that he would he will easily settle down in Canada if he does that kind of course. That's automatic refusal.
Yeah.
So look at what you do at home. Look at what benefits would you get back home when you study this course. You need to write it out. You don't have to just write one. Go. You might even have to go and browse. Okay, what if you don't know? You might go and browse. Okay, what are the benefits? Are they looking for in maybe your country of origin? Are there many professionals in that field? Are they few? For example, we had a client that came to study. Okay, let me use this example. Maybe you want to come and study something relating to aircraft maintenance or pilots. In many African countries, they don't really have so many schools that train people for that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you can say, okay, you're coming to learn this in your country. You don't have schools. You don't have so many schools, or you don't have very good schools that can actually give you the skill and the knowledge you need in that field. And you want to come to a place where that knowledge is really well developed. And when you go back, you'll be able to teach others, train other people, and use that knowledge you have gained in your own country. You need to really talk about that. So don't just go and start writing about how the course will benefit you in Canada. That would be a very big reason.
Yeah, exactly. You need to focus on one application at a time. So thinking long term, that's good in your own head, but don't be thinking long term on paper, because the requirements for the visa that you're trying to get right now as a student is that you are genuinely coming to study. And the way that you're going to show that is that you have a need to study in your own life, in your normal life where you are currently. You have a need to take this program. So that's what you need to establish that. If you cannot establish that, they're going to refuse you on the basis of, I don't think that you have been honest about your purpose with me. And so you don't want that. It's unnecessary to do that when you can probably explain quite well, if you choose a program that's relevant to your life, why this is important for you. So the next one this is a paragraph that I like to see in an SOP. This is a paragraph about your school. And so this will kind of give a bit of an argument of, I have researched this really thoroughly. I looked at different schools in Canada. Maybe I looked at different schools in multiple countries, and I saw that this school was really, really good. It offered the course that I want. The program was excellent. And you can add things like, it has facilities at this school, or they're specifically for international students and they have a lot of resources. Maybe they have ways of setting you up with accommodation or helping you settle when you get there as a student. What are those extra things that they do that you can add that were the reasons you chose this college or university compared to any other college or university. And so that's pretty easy to do because you can look on the website, you can see what kind of student services they have, you can see maybe they have got practical instruction, they've got, if it is a technical career, like you mentioned, aircraft, maybe they have got a lab or they have access to old airplanes that you're able to use. It's going to be different depending on what you're doing, but you can definitely find a lot of reasons why you chose this school. And that just helps make it look even more convincing that this is something you've really put a lot of effort into looking into before you're going to spend all of this money at this one place.
Yeah. In our practice, we see a lot of people, when we ask our students to write, many of them will just go to the website of the school and go and do copy and paste. That is not good enough. Read about the school, then write in your own words what you think you saw that made you choose that school. So don't just go to the website of the school and copy a summary of what the school has said about themselves. No, the visa officers actually they treat lots of applications on a daily basis, and they can easily spot that, oh, this one copied from the just this copy and paste. So make sure you try to be unique in what you're writing, so that that will actually make you stand out, or make your SOP to stand out when they say it.
Yeah. And something else I've seen a lot is some people will write about the location of their school, which is kind of a little bit unnecessary. Like if they have a school that's sort of in the Toronto area, maybe they're 1 hour from Toronto, they'll mention, I'm 1 hour from Toronto, how wonderful. Okay, but you're not coming as a tourist. So why does it matter if you are close to Toronto? Don't put that in there because it seems like a strange thing to put in, right? You're going for the school, not for where the school is located. You could put in that it's an international school and you'll have lots of people with different backgrounds to network with. That's wonderful. But if you're talking about places you want to go and see, that's probably not helpful. You probably don't have to write that in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so now we're growing outward. We started with the program, then we talked about the school. Now we're going to talk about Canada. So this is 2 different paragraphs usually. One paragraph talking why you want to study in Canada. What is the reason you chose this country as opposed to any other country abroad that you could have gone to study at? And a lot of people use similar reasons. Like maybe the rates are more affordable than the USA, for example, or the multicultural society, or the level of education. You can come up with many different reasons to put in why Canada was chosen instead of any place else. And then you also want to include an explanation of why you are leaving your country's education system in the first place. So maybe there's issues with the education system. Maybe like in the aircraft example, they just simply do not have the courses that you want. There could be many reasons, but you should say that because it's going to be, in most cases, a lot cheaper to study in your home country. And so if you can get a similar program in your home country, they're going to be questioning, okay, well, why have you left and spent extra money when you can get a similar program? So you want to establish a reason why it was not a good idea to stay, and it is a good idea to go.
Yeah, that's true. Then the when you are writing about why don't you want to study in your home country, just ask yourself, what are the reasons? In some countries you have strikes on a daily basis. Then, just like she said, even if you have the course in your country, why don't you want to study there? When you weigh the amount you're going to spend way maybe like times 20 or even times 30 the price of your tuition fee in Canada compared to your home country, maybe like 50-1 ratio. So why do you want to go and spend that kind of money when you can get a similar program where you are? So reasons that you can give, there are so many. One, strike actions. In some places they're always having strike actions. Some places you want to complete your education on time. You don't want to spend 4 years on a 1-year program. If you're a business person, you want to return back to your business as fast as possible. So why do you want to stay in your country? Because if you start the program now, you know when you're going to start, but you don't actually know when you're going to finish. Then do your research. If don't go and write that the course is not available in your country when it's available. Research, check. Yeah, there are some courses that are not available There are some that are available, but they are not. Maybe the location of the school, or maybe they don't have the right equipment or the right knowledge or the right skills or the right professionals to train you or thereabout. Do your research. Don't just write anything. Find out. Go on the internet. Check what is the issue with this program in my home country.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you want to study this program in your home country? What are the problems that people that are studying in your home country, what problems do they have when they study that? Then at times when you come to Canada, most times when you come to Canada, some countries, some professionals in some countries or some organizations, they actually recognize some people that have overseas qualifications, or at times they may even give them a higher pay or a higher level because they have that. Just write all of them. Think about it. What benefits are you
Mm-hmm.
getting from studying in Canada? And why don't you want to study in your own country? You must really explain that. Otherwise, the visa officer will just tell you it's cheaper for you to study in your own country. The courses are available there. Go and study in your own country, and they will just refuse the visa. So you must write very well and write everything you can write under these two headings, so that you can convince the visa officer that yes, you really want to come to Canada to study in Canada.
Yeah, exactly. This is about disputing the reasonableness of this expense. Because before you get to where you're actually going to talk about paying for your schooling, this gives you a chance to say, yeah, I know it's going to be more expensive, but it has to be this way. This is a cost based off of necessity, because it's not going to work in my own country. So yeah, very important. And a lot of people, I think, they don't write enough in these sections. And they don't expand on the points that they could expand on. You really have to think hard and write a lot here to justify yourself. Okay. So then here is probably one of the most important sections. For sure. Similar to how I was talking earlier about how, in order to justify that you're a genuine student, this is another thing that you really have to justify, because in order to get the visa that you are applying for right now, you might change the visa in the future when you actually successfully come to Canada. You might change your conditions or whatever it's going to be, but the visa you are currently applying for, in order to be eligible, you have to show that you will not work. Okay, regardless of if you want to change your conditions when you get here and start working, you have to show when you're applying that you're not intending to work. And how you show that is by having enough funds to cover your expenses. So explain that. How much money do you have? How many savings did you put aside? Where is the money? Do you have it? Is it in your savings account? Do you have access to it? Is it in someone else's account? Where did you get this money? Did you save it up over a long period of time? Did you sell a property that you owned, or you cashed in on an investment you have? Do you have a sponsor? Where did the sponsor get this money? Did they save it? Are they working? What's going on with that? Why are you all, whoever is involved in your funding, deciding to spend these resources? And because it's a lot of money. And something else that should really be added to this paragraph, along with explaining all of your funds, is any other things that you own or that you have that will show that you're financially stable in your home country. So a lot of people, if they're married, you can use your spouse. Well, my spouse, he's continuing to work. He'll have income, or she'll have income. Maybe you have a property that has tenants on it and you get money from that rental income. Maybe you have got a pension plan or life insurance or vehicles or any number of things that you can use to explain that you are financially stable in your home country, and spending the resources that you set aside for your schooling is not going to be a burden for you in the future or for your family, because you have other things that you already have set aside too that you're not going to be using. So not everyone has that, but if you do, you should put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one other thing. Okay, go on. Sorry.
Oh, and the other thing is that if you paid a tuition deposit, or if you've paid any of your first term or your entire tuition, however much you've paid, put that in there. That's part of your proof of funds. That shows that you are very serious about going, because you already have invested money into the program.
Yeah. So I was going to also add that if you paid in large sums of funds into your account, please make sure you explain it in your SOP. So if for example, in fact, just go back. If you are printing 6 month statements and irregular funds keep coming into your account that cannot be accounted for. For example, maybe you work in a bank and your salary is 250,000 maybe naira or dollars per month or thereabout. That keeps coming into your account. But aside from that, maybe your uncle is I don't know, maybe I'm just giving an example. Maybe your uncle is building a house somewhere and is sending the funds into your personal account, and you see large sums of money coming to your account, and you keep quiet about it. That might lead to a refusal. So if you have large sums of funds coming to your account that you need to, anyway, you just need to explain it. That's somebody, you need to explain it. Explain all funds that are large or that are irregular that comes into your account. Because I've had many people come to our office after they've been refused, and when they come, they tell us the officer said it doesn't believe that they have the funds. And when we check their statement account, we see that they paid in large sums, maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months to the time they want to submit, and some just go and pay in funds 2 days to the day they want to submit and print it out, and they think the visa officer would not know that they just went to arrange that kind of funds. So please, if you are paying in any sum or any large sum into your account, either close to when you are submitting or way back before you submit, make sure you write about it in your SOP. If you have evidence of where those transactions are coming from, put it there. For example, we had a client recently that we helped with her own application, and she had so much funds coming from our accounts. She had so much funds in her account, but the funds was going elsewhere. But we were able to show the link that, okay, well, at the end of the day, the closing balance she had in her account was less than 500,000, but we still used it, and she got her visa approved. But we were able to show them that, see, this client has funds. The funds goes into our account, but after that, it moves air, and we were able to show them where the funds was going to. So by the time we explain all that, they see it and they are like, okay, well, this person has funds. It's not like the bank doesn't have funds. So just make sure you explain any funds, even if you don't have. We have had clients that had less than 1 million naira in their account. For our clients from Nigeria, they had less than 1 million naira in their account, and we got visas for them. It's possible, but you need to be able to explain your source of funds. If you are doing an investment or whatever, you show them that the money moved from your account into that investment account. Not that you just come and say you have one fixed deposit. You can't show the source of the money. You just have a fixed deposit. It's not moving from your. Most times when you do fixed deposits, the money will move from your account to the fixed deposit, and when you want to liquidate it, it goes back into your account. So you can show all those things, but just come in and say, oh, you have a fixed deposit of 25 million naira, and no, you don't know the source. You can't even talk how you got it. That may lead to refusal.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You need to show the money trail. Otherwise, it's sometimes even suspicious. They suddenly have all this money. Where did it come from? And I think that a lot of the clients that we see who have had a previous study refusal, most of the time there's at least one of the reasons is proof of funds. And it's not because they didn't have the funds, it's because the visa officer couldn't understand where they got the money, or who, if they're having a sponsor, why is this person even sponsoring them? So take your time, write it out, use the actual amounts, list them out, show all of these things, and then just be sure that you have got all of the papers to attach with it. You're not just listing out that if you're going to put in assets into this section, don't just list out that you own these properties over here somewhere, but you can't show the title for the properties.
The one other thing I was going to say is, if you are being sponsored by a family member or anybody, please try and show the link between you and your sponsor. So if you have an uncle that is sponsoring you now, get your dad's birth certificate, get your uncle's birth certificate, and show that, they are from the same parents. If your brother is sponsoring you, you can collect his birth certificate and put your own there too, and show them that, see we are from the same parents. Many times the visa officers want to see the link between your sponsor and yourself. Even if the sponsor is not your family member or your relative, the sponsor might have been sponsoring you since you were young or maybe way back. Get evidence and show that. So at times, if you don't have this, you might need to build that over time. You don't just want to just get anybody and say, okay, anybody's my sponsor. You don't know. There's no link. They want to see the link. What's the link between your sponsor and yourself? Has your sponsor been sponsoring you way back, or is just now? Okay, if it's now, why is the person sponsoring you? Please make sure that is well written. Why? Then you have some people that come and say they are sponsors. The sponsor has let me talk in naira now. The sponsor has 10 million naira in the account, and you also need 10 million naira for your study and your living expense for 1 year. That may not work because the sponsor cannot use all his. He has his own family members. He has his own liabilities. He has his own things to. He also needs funds for his personal use. So he cannot now be using all the funds he has in his bank account to sponsor you when you're not even the child, you're not his child or whatever. So be careful. Then when you want to use corporate account, be very careful too. Corporate account, people using corporate account, you can use it. But you need to show the link between you, the person, and the corporate account. Most times it's better for you to use a personal account because you always people forget that the money in the company's account is not for the individual, it's for the company. So why is the company sponsoring you? You need to write it. Are you working for them? Or you're not working for that company and you said they are sponsoring you? How does it flow? What's the link?
Yeah.
If you're able to show the link, yeah, that's fine. And that's why you have an SOP. Your SOP should be able to help you show that, oh, this is this. If you have a personal account, that is fine. And you want to back it up with a business bank account, that is perfect. But just using a company account when you're not working in that company, no. I don't think it will work unless you are able to show the link between you, the company, and the directors that are there. So you have to get documents. What are the documents? Documents. Who owns the company? Who are the shareholders? What they do? A lot of documentation to back it up to show that you will have access to the funds in that account.
Yeah. I think that in Canada, the way that the system works is that when you've opened a business, it is its own thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong, like, it does belong to you, as in you have got an ownership stake in it, but the the accounts for it are supposed to be separate. So a visa officer in Canada who sees that you're trying to use a company account for yourself is going to be very confused about that, because you can't do that in Canada. You can't just use your company funds however you want, because they belong to the company, and that's how it works. So, and then like you were saying, if you are working somewhere and they are sponsoring you, whether it's your own business that's sponsoring you or it is a separate business you just are employed at and they're sponsoring you, it would be really helpful if you could get some sort of agreement that you've signed with them that shows the amount that they're going to give you, and that they're giving it to you for this study and whatever else. And then it shows that you have got an actual sort of maybe legal or binding agreement with them to take this money in exchange for maybe working for another 2 or 3 years for them, or however the agreement was going to be. So yeah, lots of things to address in this paragraph. It has a lot that
A
you
lot.
can
A whole lot.
put in there. Yeah, because you don't want to be refused on the basis of your funding.
Yeah.
Okay, and then plans after study. So in this section, you can take things that were probably already mentioned and you're going to make it its own section. So you probably already mentioned when you were talking about your program or talking about your career, what you are planning to do with your short-term, medium-term, long-term career goals in life. But here you can put them all together into a nice paragraph that just explains, when I finish my study program, I'm going home and this is what I'm doing, and this is how my life is going to change as a result of having finished my program and getting this qualification. So for a lot of people, maybe they are trying to expand their business, so they're going to go home and work on that now that they have the skills to take their business to the next level, or maybe they have a promotion waiting for them. Just put it in its own paragraph. I'm definitely going to go home because look at all of these good things that are waiting for me. when I finish my program.
Yeah.
Okay, and then here I'm going to talk about a couple sections here, because this is at near the end of your SOP. This is an opportunity to discuss any strange things about you, any concerning things about you. So first of all, your travel history. Do you even have a travel history? If you do, where have you gone? When did you go? Why did you go? Maybe you went to the USA for a business trip in 2017. Maybe you took a vacation somewhere with your family in a different year. Just put it down and show that, I've traveled places before and I came back and I, didn't break any of my visa terms. I was a good traveler, all that kind of stuff. And if you haven't traveled, why didn't you travel? Maybe you are focusing on your career and you are so busy you didn't think it was important to take a vacation, or maybe you are focusing on growing a family with your spouse. Who knows? There's lots of reasons why people don't travel. But you can put that in there. I haven't traveled, but I'm traveling now for my studies. And even though I haven't traveled in the past, I'm going to follow everything that I have to follow, because you can see that I've never done any sort of criminal activities. I'm a very law-abiding person, so I have no intention of breaking any of my visa terms. And then in a separate paragraph on its own, even if these are both short paragraphs, in its own paragraph, if you have been refused either to Canada or to any country at all, put in the refusal. You just have to state it. I applied for a tourism visa to Canada in 2015, and I was denied on the basis of my proof of funds. Whatever it was, just put it there and declare it. Because I think a lot of people that we talk to, they think that if I talk about it, it will look badly. It will reflect badly on me. I have a refusal in my past history. No. What looks bad is if you're trying to hide it. Then it's like, oh, was it worse than what it could? No, there's lots of reasons. Sometimes people are refused on a technicality. I applied for this visa, and by the time they processed it, my passport had expired. So they denied me on a technicality of I don't have a valid passport. There could be any reason that you were refused. But the issue is not that you were refused. The issue would be that you don't mention it, because even if it was for maybe a not so great reason, if you state it and you say, I did that, but I'm never going to be doing that again. I learned my lesson from that. Whatever it is, talk about it, because then you're being open and honest. And that is a good thing for the person who is reading this, to see that you're acknowledging that your history has got a refusal in it. And
I was going to add something here to we have had this year alone, we have had like 5 or 6 clients who had their visas revoked, some who had travel ban to US, some even had travel ban to UK too. And I'm sure you know that US and Canada, they share information. And despite that, we were able to assist them to get their visas. So the fact that you have been refused before, the fact that you've had a ban, the fact that they deported you from one country, maybe from US, that does not mean you can't get a visa to Canada. But we'll explain it. We will explain it, we'll guide you on that, explain it, and at the end of the day, if you have explained it well, it's not an issue. As long as you can present your present application very well, they might be able to waive all what you had happened in the past. You can even if you had a very we've had clients who had very terrible bad history, very terrible ones, but still we had a client that applied for asylum. She was deported, removed from US, and still we got her a study visa to Canada. So it doesn't matter. Then the fact that you have not traveled before does not mean your visa cannot be approved. No. This year alone, we have gotten visas from many people who had never been out of their country of origin. We've had more than 20 people that we have done that for this year alone. They've never been anywhere. Canada will be their first application or their first trip out of their country of origin, and they gave them visas. So it's not about travel history. If you have traveled, fine. It's a positive for you. You've traveled, you've gone back to your home country. It's a positive, but the fact that you have not traveled does not mean it's a negative factor. No, it's neutral. That's it.
Yeah, and I think I'm just going to clarify here right now, because I have seen some people get confused and they think that if they have got a new passport, their travel history is suddenly gone. No. No. even if you got dual citizenship somewhere and you have a new passport from a new country, no, they know your history. Or if they discover your history, you can face a ban. That is absolutely not true. It's your travel history is not actually tied to your passport. It's tied to you personally. Okay,
Yeah.
to your name, to your fingerprints, to your, all of this, all your personal information. Your passport number is just a document.
Yeah.
So don't assume that because you have applied for a new passport, you have a brand new passport, no stamped pages in it at all. That doesn't matter. Okay,
Yeah,
you
brought
have.
people from another country too. Because we had a case. You remember that case where a client she got a passport of another country, and when they
Mhm,
asked about travel history, she said she had not been refused before, thinking
mhm,
that because the passport is another passport of another country, they will not be able to link it with our other country passports. They will link it. So just explain it. It doesn't matter. You can still get a visa without, even if you have had a refusal or you have not traveled, you can still get a visa.
mhm. Yeah, and then if there are any other particular things to you that you think you should address that could be a concern, you can address it here. And who knows what they would be. There's strange things that sometimes people have in their background, and they're just going to explain in its own little paragraph here why it's going on. So for example, maybe if you are being sponsored by your company, you would do one more paragraph at the bottom here to say, why is my company sponsoring me? And just summarize the reasons why they're sponsoring you, and say that, I have included an agreement with my company, or whatever particular thing that there is to you. If there is something else, just to put it in its own paragraph to address it by itself.
Yeah,
Sometimes that's a good idea.
but yeah, very good idea.
Mm. Okay. So and then here's a really good paragraph. This is your ties to home. These are the things that you're going to put into the paragraph that show that you have a lot of things in your home country that are holding you to that country.
Mm,
So maybe that's because you have a huge investment portfolio and you've just got all of these assets. You've got properties that you have tenants on, or you have purchased a bunch of land and you're currently developing it. Who knows? Put that in there because that shows, okay, I have all these things that I own that I need to take care of back home. Or maybe your career is waiting for you. I've signed a contract with my employers. I'm supposed to return and work for 2 more years. I have to go or I'll face legal consequences. Or maybe your family, you're not applying together at this moment. So you have got your husband or your wife or your kids at home, and that's a huge tie. They're gonna, of course, you're gonna go back to your children because you're gonna miss them during all this time. If you don't have a spouse or children, maybe you've got elderly parents. Well, my elderly parents are there, and I'm gone. I'm only going for 1 year so that I can get back to them because they're older. They need my company. They need my help. Whatever it is, you need to write a paragraph that shows that you have got a life at home that is waiting for your return. Okay. And
yeah,
all of these together will make it look like you're very well established in your home country and that you have got lots of reasons to go back. And the allure of Canada is not bigger than all of these things that are waiting for you.
yeah. Then for ties, don't limit yourself to family's career assets alone. Look for other things. Are you a member of any association? Are you an active member in your church or in your mosque?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Are you active in your landlord association in your community? Are there other things you are involved in? Are you a member of a cooperative society? Are you so many things? Just look around you. What are the extra things you do? Do you volunteer somewhere, maybe in an NGO or something? Even if it's done once in a quarter, once in a year, get a letter from them just to show that,
Mhm,
you have things that are ongoing for you back home that will make you return. I like them. List them out one by one so that the visa officer can see that, this person has many things. Even your parents are ties to you. Your parents, your grandparents, your family members, they have. List it out. Is my wife going with me? If they're not going with you, if your wife is not following you, your spouse is not following you, write it there. Your kids, they're not going. A lot of things. So
mhm,
don't just be scanty in this section. Make sure you write everything. Just sit down, think about it. What are the other things I do that
mhm,
bring me back here, or that that is important to me in your home that is matter to you in your home country that you are likely going to come back to. List all of them and talk about all of them.
Yeah, I think especially people who are single, maybe they think, oh, I will not be convincing because I don't have an immediate family waiting for me back home. And but then we talk with them, we find out what they do, and they're on multiple organizations, they have shares in
Yeah.
businesses, they have all these things going on, because everyone has so many things going on in their lives, and it's all specialized to individual people. So
Yeah.
and some of the things, maybe you don't think that would sound convincing, but it does sound convincing because you're building an image in the head of the person who's reading it. So the officer who's reading this is going to start realizing, oh, look at this world that they live in, all the things that they're doing. This is this is very believable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so finally, you're just going to, just as you had an introduction paragraph, you're going to have a conclusion paragraph. This can be a short and sweet little paragraph. Just put in a few sentences to summarize it. Maybe just I just put in your program one more time, your start date one more time, something like that, to just end your essay very nicely. And it's always good to request again, just like you did in the introduction paragraph. You requested the visa that you want, request it again. Ask politely for it. End it with a greeting. Maybe you could say, thank you for your time of reading this, or your consideration of this matter, and just sign your name. Kind regards, Colleen Seiffert, something like that, right? It's just the goodbye greeting, basically. But it's good to put in there because you want it to have a closing. You're ending what you're writing about. So it's a good paragraph to add.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so those were all of the headings that I wanted to discuss today. And basically, if you put all of those things that we talked about into your SOP and you write them very well, you explain them very well, and you have documents that you can attach to your application that will back up what you're saying, you will have written a very good SOP.
Yeah.
It'll be very good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So thanks a lot for
Yeah,
talking
no
to
problem.
this. It was really very interesting. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So if you want to ensure if you need help with this, you can reach out to us. That's one of the things we assist our clients to do. We don't write for our clients, don't get me wrong. You will write, but we would help you edit what you have done. We'll guide you, we'll give you a template that you're going to use to write. You write it, then we will now go on to look at it. And our team, we have a team, in the office that work on that. And Colin is one of those that also does that review very well. So we'll review it and help you adjust it, make it right, and make it better. So by the time we are sending it back to you, you yourself will see the difference in what you sent to us and what we are sending to you. In fact, I have to say this: there's none of our clients who has sent us SOP, and
Yeah.
most times, not most times, all the time we share the final SOP draft with our clients. They want them to see what is there and read it and be sure that it's fine. Most all the clients that we have assisted to improve their SOP so far. When they
Yeah.
see it, they commend. Yeah, they commend.
I've never seen a perfect SOP come in yet.
Yeah,
And that's why, I thought, let's do a presentation on the whole statement of purpose, because this is a good explanation of what should be in there. But at the end
yeah,
of the day, not everyone is going to write a perfect SOP on their own.
yeah,
So
yeah,
sometimes you still need some help, and that's what we're here for, is to make sure that everything that you have in there is really perfect as it could be, to limit your chances of refusal. So yeah.
yeah. Thanks a lot. We're going to take some questions, but before we take that, I want to encourage you all to subscribe to our channels, our social media channels. So you can. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, and we're also on YouTube. So our link is at Trulink Travel. So just search for us, and there are so many things on our social media channels that when you go there, they will benefit you. You see a lot of things, so many educational videos, so many discussions, So just reach out to us here. And if you have anything, you want to reach out to us, you have questions, just send us a WhatsApp chat, or you can send us an email. Let me show you that for those that don't have a WhatsApp number. Our WhatsApp number is +1 587 568 6124. It's shown on our screen. 587 +1 587 568 6124. And our website too is www.truelinktravel.com. You can get so many things on our website, and just chat us up, send us emails, and we are sure that we respond to all your chats and your emails. You can also call us. You can also call us. We have you can call the Canada office. You can call the Nigerian office. We have the numbers are showing on our screen. So let's take one or two questions before we round up for today. So someone said, let's start from the top. Okay. Hello, happy to join. Okay, let me see. I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for joining too. Someone asked the question there. It said, can a student's brother sponsor him for his studies in Canada? Yes, that is correct. It now said, can a student present or use his relative's financial account statements for visa application? Yeah, we mentioned that. Yeah, you can use your relative's financial statements. You can, but just like we said earlier on, make sure you link the relative. Show the officer the link. This is my brother. He does this. In fact, we recently got an approval for someone like that. We used the sister sponsors the brother, and his visa was approved just last week. So it's possible, very possible.
Yeah, just like we said earlier, if someone's sponsoring you, you just have to show that they have enough money to be sponsoring you without it hurting them as well, right? So they had this money set aside and they're letting you use it, but they're still working, so they're covering all their own expenses. They have already a pension, so it's not going to impact their retirement or anything like that. You just have to show that, this money is being given because it is available and it's given out of love for your brother or your sister, right? It's not going to burden themselves or their ability to pay for their own children or anything like that.
Yeah. So someone asked one other thing. How about the company's account owner provides a certificate of signatory? The company's account owner. Yeah, we mentioned that. If you see, the company's money is not for you. It is, which she spoke a lot about that, so I won't talk about this too much. The company's money is not for you, it's for the company. But when you transfer money from the company account into your personal account, yes, that one is your own money. So you need to understand that. So imagine you have a company that has 10 million naira in the account. You want to sponsor a student. How? It won't work, because the student, I'm talking for those, this is for peculiar to people in Nigeria, because I mentioned naira. Or let me even use dollars. A company has $30,000 in their account, and a student needs $30,000. Would the company now give all their money to the students? It doesn't work. So if you are using company account, you have to have multiples, plenty money there, because one, the company will not give all the company's money to someone that is not even working for them or a far relative or something. No. So you be careful when you are using company account. Be careful. It's not, you need to use it. You can use it, but it works more as a supportive document, not just as a direct document.
And if your company doesn't have a lot of money, it's not going to be helpful to put it in as a supporting document. So
it won't help
the thing that you can do if you need to be using this money, or if this money, like he said, if you're going to transfer the money to your personal account, transfer it as a study grant, because that's fine. Companies can give you study grants. That happens here. My own cousin, she got a scholarship for her program from a company. She won a scholarship from them. She didn't even work for them, but she won a scholarship through a competition that they had. That's totally fine. You can do that. But just have something that shows why you're getting this study grant.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And link. Make sure you're able to connect the sponsor with the applicant. So, okay, someone said, what can a single person use as home ties? So many things. One, are you a member of any association? Find out, do you belong to, even if you don't belong to one, go and join one. A single person can also use his family. You have your mom, your parents. Your parents can be your ties. You might be supporting them, you might be helping them. Yeah. So just look for anything. What are the other things you do? That is your work. Your work too can be a tie for a single person. Your work. Your work, you are going to write, most likely you're going to write that when you're done with your studies, you will come back to your work. So your work can be a tie. If you have a business, if a single person has a business, it can be a tie. If you have even if you have a fiance, you can document it. Oh, I have an ongoing relationship, even though we're not yet married, but I plan to return back to come and get married. That's a tie. So just look around you and check, uh, you know, check, look around you and look for everything that will tie you down to your country of origin and write about it. Someone said, those it's really does it really matter if bulk sum of money enter bank account and print for submission? It matters a lot. If bulk money comes to your account, please explain it. Explain the source of the funds and what that fund is for. If you have to go and get affidavit, if someone is giving it to you, if it's a gifted, record it, write it down, get a letter to back it up, and add it to your application. It's not illegal for you to get funds from people, but make sure you document it and show the source of the funds and where it's coming from and what it's for. That's very important, because really, when you start paying in funds too close to when you are printing your statement, the visa officers suspect that you don't have the funds. You're just trying to, you maybe got funds from somewhere and you're trying to show that you have
loan. Yeah.
So be careful with that.
Yeah, and if a lot of people, I've noticed they sell a property recently, put in your sale of contracts. You just put it in. Look, I sold this land. Here's the contract. Here's how much they paid me. You can see how much they paid me in my account. It connects.
Yeah. So someone said, thank you for all you do. Thank you too. Someone said, I'm a widow. I'm widowed. Can I travel with my kids? Yes, it's possible. But you have to show ties anyway. It's possible. But you also have to show ties. You also have to show ties that will bring you back. The fact that you're a widow does not mean you cannot travel. We have gotten visas for single parents. We have gotten visas for people that are single. So if you're a widow, you can also travel. So also, can I use my account to sponsor myself? Can I use my company account to sponsor myself? We said that earlier on. You can use it, but it should be a backup. If your company has funds and your company is doing well, then you should also be doing well. You should also have funds in your own account. The company money is not your money, even if you are the sole signatory. The company account, the money in the company's account is not your money. Even if you are the sole signatory and the sole proprietor of the business, it is still not your money. It's still the company's money. So, but if you transfer that money from the company's account into your own account, yes, that money has become your own money. So be careful about that. Then, just like we said earlier on, if you want to use all the money in your company account to sponsor yourself, how would the company then survive? Those are things that the visa officer can use against you. Someone said my US visa refusal was not included in my also. How can I be included? You can include it if you have submitted your application. You can always you can write and update your application and tell them you want to explain some things, you want to add some things to what you have submitted. It's possible. What is the required amount of money required for applying for a student application program? Okay, so you need to have your living expense and your school fees. The average school fees in Canada is about 17,000 Canadian dollars, and the living expense for 1 year is about 10,000 Canadian dollars. So if you have $27,000 to $30,000 for most programs, you should be fine.
Yeah.
So in naira, that might be around 10 million naira or thereabouts. Using the current exchange rate and all of that, maybe around 10 million, you should be fine. So also, thank you for this live chat. Please, my question is, if I'm using my own account, personal account, do I need to state how the money came in? Yes, you have to state it. You have to show the source of funds, especially if, in fact, even if it's clear, show it, because you don't want them to use that basis to refuse your visa. So if the money is coming in, if the source of your funds is your salary, explain it. Oh, my salary came in on this date. Look at it. My bank statement is there. This date, this date, this date. And if someone give you money, mention the same thing. So you can use your personal account. You can pay. You need whatever large funds that comes to your account. Explain it. It is very important, because that is one major reason why they are. In fact, let me give you an example. We had a client who just retained her service. She had applied before to Canada many times. She had millions in her account, millions. Not when I say millions, millions. She was refused visa. When she now came to us, we looked at it. We analyzed. We told her that because you had money, that's why they refused you. Because so much funds, 20 million, 30 million, was coming into account regularly. She did not tell them she had other businesses. She only mentioned a regular official job, where she earns like 300,000 every month. But the business that she's doing that brings in so much funds, she did not talk about it. So when right now, we now sat her down. We told her, we showed her everything, and we right now we have submitted the application, and we are sure that we are confident that the visa is not going to be approved because we have done the right thing. We have guided her right, and she's not going to get a visa now. Can my spouse sponsor me through funding from a cooperative? Can my spouse sponsor me through fund? I'm not clear with that question, but I don't know. Is it that a cooperative will sponsor you? Can my spouse sponsor me through funding from a cooperative? If your spouse, if you can show that the cooperative paid your spouse the funds, you can get a letter from the cooperative stating that my spouse has been with us for this length of time, is entitled to this or whatever, and on this date he has collected the sum of this. Yeah, then you can. Then even another way you can do it is easy. If your spouse gets cooperative funding, he can transfer the money into your own account and say he's the one sponsoring you. And you now explain what he is doing. How did he get the money? You need to explain it. How did he get the funds? So you might still need to attach the cooperative letter, or all those things, just in case he doesn't have other sources of income that can show that he has that kind of money. Just make sure you document the source of the income you are using to finance your study. It's very important. You are not talking about this one is not about what we are talking about. Can spouses sponsor through funding through cooperative? Yes. Can a 19-year-old be a dependent? Yes.
Yes.
Dependent, as long as you are less than 22 years, dependent. But let me clarify something though. If the 19-year-old is already going into university, the person is still a dependent, but if the person is coming to Canada, you might need to pay international fees for her or him if the person is going to school in Canada. If the person is coming to study in a university in Canada, you might need to pay. So it's not like because the dependent, you will not pay. You still have to, you might need to pay for that. What about visa officer? How much should one plan? Please reach out to us on WhatsApp on that. We'll tell you about our fees on that. Yeah. So thank you once again we've come to the end of today's live seminar. I want to thank Collins for coming here to talk to us and educate us about SOPs. I'm sure many of our clients now, if I write this video, many of our clients will just be sending to them, go and watch the video, when they're asking, I don't know how to write. We normally give them templates, but we would ask them to go and watch this video too, so that they can understand.
That would be really good.
That would save a whole lot of things, a whole lot of time, and it also assists them to know what to do and do it right, so that we have less work to do from our hands. So thanks a lot for coming to talk to us about this. So if you want to reach out to us, you can always reach out to us on our social media channels. I said earlier on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Our handle is @TrueLink Travel. You can always reach out to us, and you are sure that we would answer all your inquiries that you may have. We'll have another one next month, definitely, by God's grace, and we'll send the topic for next month out so that you get to know about it, and look forward to seeing you people too next month when we come online again for this session of Ask the Consultant. Thank you all for coming.